call this regular meeting to order. This is Palisades Park Board of Education work session regular business meeting on Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. The meeting starts at 6:35 p.m. at the Early Child Center, 270 First Street, Palisades Park, New Jersey. Everyone please rise for the flag salute.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Lee, please take the roll call.
Ms. Sue Chung,
Present.
Ms. Soo-Young Park,
Yes.
Ms. Boyeon Yu,
Here.
Mr. Aaron Peck, Mr. Jun Yim, Mr. Sergio Kaye,
Here.
Mr. Ray Park, Ms. Ingyo Kim,
Here.
Mr. Justin Zhou, Mr. Carl Albano,
Here.
Mr. Emilio DeAndrea,
Here.
Bushlager,
Here.
and Tyler Jung.
Do we notify Mr. Chung and Tyler Chung?
Oh,
Do we?
Yeah.
In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, I hereby state the notice of this regular meeting has been provided to the public by a written notice dated January 15, 2026. The meeting notice has been emailed to all staff members at the district's 3 school locations, communicated to the record, filed with the board clerk of Palisades Park, posted on district websites. Now, we'll review and discuss resolutions to be voted at the regular session. So we start the work session first. And item K, approval of board meetings. There's 2 minutes for approval, and then we discuss it if there's any correction request on those minutes dated December 17, 2025, regular session and executive meeting minutes. Do you have any correction requests or any questions, discussions on minutes? If not, next, building and grounds. Since we didn't approve for the committee chairperson, I'll just read the agenda. So we have one consent agenda in building and grounds. That was the request for the fee waiver by the Elks Lodge hoop shoot competition. Actually, the event was made in January 1st, and as the formal letter was shared with all board members, that they sent us for the to waive the fee of the non-refundable $250 deposit. And since for some reasons that it has been requested but by the policy, but not actually asked them to pay previously, so they were not really prepared for this fee for now. So they asking that they probably be accordingly prepared next event. Do you have any questions?
I don't understand the reasoning behind this. So they never paid before, is that what it is?
Yeah, by policy, they are requested to pay. That all the non-profit organization who rent or use a facility of a school, then they are requested $250. And
Right, so
for
why
some
are we-
reasons, they never bid. And then not just this organization, but this has been ongoing long years, multiple years of discussion within the board, which never been really cleared it out. That's how we mentioned about the fee structure with the new administration, how the board will go with.
So what's the timeline here? So they made the request, we told them this is gonna be this much, and then they said, no, we're not
Yeah,
Yeah.
please, yeah.
Grace and I had most communication with them, so the board policy basically states that even for a nonprofit like the Elks, the board will receive a $250 non-refundable deposit to offset cost, basically, I think was the intent. What we understand is it hasn't been consistently implemented, and there are some school districts that don't accept, don't take any money from nonprofit organizations such as the Elks, especially if the event is during regular hours. So I think it's important for the board to understand this particular event, we didn't have to add, for example, custodial overtime. It happened when our staff was scheduled to be in. It was a small crowd, there wasn't a lot of setup or cleanup, so there really wasn't much of an imposition. However, the policy does say $250. So Grace Lee, following the policy, requested it, and that's when we learned they haven't paid it for many years, so they really don't have a lot of funds available. So they're making a request that the board waive it for this year. I did tell them we may revisit this policy and a fee schedule in the spring for the upcoming year, and then next year we may have to charge them, but it's really the board's decision. So it's part of a bigger discussion, but I think the request for this year is a reasonable one, just because every year they never anticipated paying this cost because they just weren't asked for that fee for many years.
So they didn't know prior to this event, just prior to this event? We didn't make that a condition known to them before they had the event, is that?
We did.
Okay.
We did, but the request is their funds are very limited, and would we waive it? If the board says no, they will provide the $250. So it's just the board. It's a request to the board, but if not, we will keep the payment of $250.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind if it lowers, but I don't know, it's kind of odd.
Yeah, their formal request letter was shared in our folder, so there's more details in the letter as well. And for now, for the bigger discussion, we previously mentioned and then discussed about this issue that I requested all board members to consider or determine your opinion on how we're going to build the policy or just keep it as it is. Our current policy doesn't allow the board to rent or allow the profit-making organization use of our school land or facilities. But we've been waiving some cases, actually a lot, or we can just stick to the policy, current policy, that we can just rent it out or have allowed approved for the non-profit organization when they request us to grant those use of the land or facilities. So that part we'll bring it to next months and months until we have some more concrete opinions and result, and more discussion might be necessary as well. But I don't know, do you anyone record the policy numbers 9130 or 3130, 31, something like that? So we will share that policy, and then let's just try to solve the resolution as soon as possible, because it's been years. So every time that we have those requests, we just have the same question and answers over and over. So yeah, so I will share all this policy with you through email, maybe this week or next week, and then so we'll be prepared by next month. Okay. Next, the education. We have 4 consent agenda for board approval. The first one is a bridge trip. There's a 4 bridge trip request, and there's numbers 2. I think it's a mass events in preschool, and number 3 to approve submission of preschool projected enrollment 2026-2027 school year. Number 4, to approve submission of 2026-2027 3-year preschool program plan and annual update. Any discussion or questions? If not, next, finance. We have 13 consent agenda for board approval. Number 1, staff member visitations workshops. Number 2, approval of the January bill list. Number 3, approval of payroll. There's up to 3 payroll for past months: December 16, December 17, December 23rd. Number 4, student activities accounts. Number 5, out of district contracts. Number 6, donation acceptance. Number 7, appropriations and transfer of 2024-2025 extraordinary aid. Number 8, approval of acceptance of IDEA fiscal year 2026 grant application. Number 9, approval of submission of amendment 1 of IDEA fiscal year 2026 grant application. Number 10, secretaries and treasurer's financial reports. Number 11, ratification of board secretary's monthly certification, budgetary line item status. Number 12, fund transfers. Number 13, home instruction. Do you have any discussions and questions in finance? I know it's a lot for the new board members, but someday in a few months, then Mr. DeAndrea will give us some presentation and guidance how to read and address this finance agendas and resolution too.
If I could just make a comment on the payroll.
Sure.
Just so everyone, for the board members that are aware, we had a retro pay that was due. That is specifically the 12-16 and 12-17 payrolls. That was the retroactive payment on the settlement of the contract. And we're now working towards getting the retroactive payment to the staff members for the hourly adjustments also. But the 16th and 17th was the adjustment for the retroactive payment
Right.
for their salaries, their base salaries. We're now working on the hourly adjustments.
And just to add a minute, that is for the teachers as well as our clerical staff.
Yes.
Which is our largest bargaining unit.
Right, so just to add one more voice to the mix, but when the teachers' union, the teachers' salaries are controlled largely by the collective bargaining agreement that's reached with the teachers' union. So the teachers' contract expired before a new agreement was reached and settled. And when the new agreement was finally settled, there was terms in it that said that these salary raises are going to be retroactive to when the last contract expired. So that's what these payments are. It's the difference between what the teachers were paid based on the prior contract rates and the new rates that went into effect retroactively.
Thank you for your explanation. Any other questions? For next board meeting, if you have any question, you could reach out to our administrators, and also you can email them prior to the meeting as well. Also, you can question in the meeting too. But sometimes it's more efficient if you give us prior context for the questions too. So next, the personnel. We have 8 consent agenda for personnel matters for board approval. Number 1, resignation of staff. Number 2, resignation of a head track and field coach. Number 3, salary adjustment request. Number 4, tuition reimbursement. Number 5, approval of employment contracts. Number 6, salary adjustment, van drivers. Number 7, ECC parent night. Number 8, NJSLA after school teachers. Any discussion or questions?
Actually, can we go back to finance for a second? Sorry, just realized that there was a section in there. For the out-of-district contracts, section 5, are those, like, there are multiple students, correct?
Would you,
Uh,
Madam President, you want me?
You can take it a minute,
Okay.
yes.
So, part of the transition from your prior administration to your new administration, we did a thorough review of all your open purchase orders, encumbrances and all. And when I was preparing the ASSA, which is our annual summary of students, we came across a number of contracts that were not approved by the board. So these are based on our internal audit, working with Ms. Lee, accounts payable, the Director of Special Services. We've now ensured that all contracts for out-of-district students have appeared on the board agenda for approval. All of these students have been in the district from September 1 on. It's just now making sure that the board is officially approving all of the contracts that you have with the outside agencies.
So each one of these is one student?
No. Oh, yes, each one, yes.
Yeah.
Each one is an individual student by placement by the school that they're at.
Okay. So what causes something, the difference in all these tuitions? Like,
I
why
think the
is
best
this
way
one
to
is over
explain it is
$100,000?
every child has very specific needs and disabilities. Every school, certain schools cater to certain disabilities, so everything is geared around the disability of the child. So there is no standard rate for a child's tuition. It's based on the child's needs. Some children require some additional services that are also outside of the regular programming that the school provides. So that's why it's broken out between tuition and extraordinary services.
And
So every child is unique.
I'll just add, keep in mind, because there are some dramatic differences. Oftentimes, there is a paraprofessional assigned to a child. Each school institution may have different salary schedules, different benefits packages, so that expense is passed on to us. But all of these, for the new board members, all of these students, Pal Park doesn't have, we're a small district, as you know, we don't have every program for every child. As much as possible, we try to educate all of our students here at Pal Park, but when we don't have an appropriate program, legally we have a responsibility to find an appropriate program, and that's what these contracts represent.
And do we negotiate them, or do they just have a price?
They're not negotiable.
And do you mind adding more part of our discussion?
Of course.
All of these private placements, they are required to go through an annual audit also. And if there is any adjustment in the salary, any adjustment in the tuition, they usually come a year, 2 years afterwards. Sometimes you get a refund, sometimes they charge you for the excess. So they are monitored by outside agencies for their costs associated to their programs.
Thank you.
I'll add one last important note, not to belabor this or drag it out, but there is a significant amount of state aid to support these children. So, you do look at some of the figures and think, gee, that is a significant amount of money, but this is not all funded by local tax dollars. In fact, significant portion of it does come back to us in state aid.
Would you say like 50%, 75?
No.
That's a
I'll get
business,
I'll get into the,
maybe during the budget
in
process.
May, every May, school districts are permitted to file for an extraordinary aid application. And based on the application's requirements, it's generally driven by a cost factor of greater than 40,000. So you have to document all of your costs associated to each child in excess of 40,000. Then at the state level, based on how many applications are filed and the available funding, they provide support based on the available funds at the state. So is it 50%? Could be 1 year, the following year they may have extra money, they may fund 60% of the excess over 40. So there is no direct percentage amount, it's based on your actual filing and the filings of the whole state and available funds.
But generally,
Well, I can tell you for the 24-25 year, your application was funded, you received over $800,000 in revenue from the filing that the department did. Prior year, it was 540,000. There's a fluctuation, and again, depending on the needs of the children, how many children you have placed drives that factor.
The number 7 on the finance agenda, is that,
That's exactly why I know the number off the top.
that's the extraordinary
That's your
aid that was
extraordinary
received
aid
for
from the
those
prior year.
24-25.
Thank you.
And just, these are not new placements
No,
in number 5 for this school year.
nope,
These are, many of these, if not all of them, were
Very good
the same
question.
place that they were placed last year.
just
Right.
because of the change in administration, it never made it to the board level for approval.
Right. Slightly relevant to that, so number 2, like bill list, that amount is not just all fully paid by tax levy either too. There's the inclusion of the state aid, especially for the preschool fund, preschool tuitions.
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to personnel. Do you have any discussion on personnel matters, personnel agendas? Discussion? Okay, then next, the new business. We organize the new committee structure for the year of 2026. And there's a, if you have questions, any requests, then you can also discuss here too.
oh, I don't think I'm necessary as a chairperson for the education committee. Perhaps Justin or Inkyo would like to take that?
Would you like Justin? Or?
Between us.
Okay, just thank you for taking the chairperson role. So there will be, so in our regular session, we are voting on this committee appointments in education, for education committee. Mr. Justin Jung will be the chairperson, and the members for the committee will be Ms. Ho-yu and Ms. In-gyo Kim. Okay, and the rest of committees, I don't think we have a report or any agendas for discussion today. May I have a motion to close the work session and move on to the regular session?
I want to, not a motion, but I want to propose a walking tour maybe of the schools with
Oh,
the
yeah,
superintendent.
that
be
we can
introduced
do,
now?
yes, new business. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. I actually forgot to mention about it. So Mr. Chow requested the administrator for the tour of the school buildings.
With, Mr. Superabano.
Yeah, so we can maybe schedule that date. And I know it's daytime, and many of you have the daytime jobs and other, works, but I think we can, we can schedule, and then probably we can email and then discuss about the meeting dates, visit date. Okay, thank you.
Do you have something with one of the teachers having an outing or something?
What
I thought I read that. Maybe it's gone. Okay, never mind, I know, I can't find it.
So I requested a motion to open our meeting to the regular session, regular meeting. You have a motion?
I'm
You motion? May I have a second? Mr. Sergio, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So start with board present report. I don't have a report for this month, but yeah, I just want to thank Mr. Urbano that I see the report of the superintendents that just in advance that thank you to recognize the board. It's January is the New Jersey School Board Recognition Month, and I see the agendas that you acknowledges our efforts, board's efforts for this school district. Thank you.
My
And
pleasure.
then that's your turn.
Sure. So I have something to read from the New Jersey State School Boards Association, just to recognize our board members who serve and volunteer and spend many hours giving back to the school district. So if you could bear with me. Whereas the New Jersey School Boards Association has declared January 2026 to be School Board Recognition Month, a time when all residents can acknowledge the contributions made by our local school board members. And whereas the Palisades Park Board of Education is one of 581 local school boards in New Jersey, which sets policies and oversees operations for public school districts. Whereas the Palisades Park Board of Education embraces the goal of high-quality education for all New Jersey public school students. Whereas New Jersey's local school boards, helps determine the educational goals for approximately 1.4 million children in pre-kindergarten through grade 12. Whereas New Jersey's 5,000 local school board members who receive no remuneration for their services act as advocates for public school students as they work with administrators, teachers, and parents for the betterment of public education. And whereas school boards strive to provide the resources necessary to meet the needs of all students, including those with special needs. Whereas boards of education provide accountability to the public, they communicate the needs of school districts to the public, and they convey to school administrators the public's expectations for the schools. And whereas New Jersey can take pride in its schools, which rank among the nation's best in key achievement indicators, such as the National Assessment of Educational Progress Scores and the preparation for college through advanced placement offerings and SAT assessments. Now therefore be it resolved that the Palisades Board of Education does hereby recognize the services of local school board members throughout New Jersey as we join communities statewide in observing January 2026 as School Board Recognition Month. And be it further resolved that the Palisades Board of Education urges all New Jersey citizens to work with their local boards of education and public school staff towards the advancement of our children's education.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yes, so last month in December 2025, I and all board, with thanks to all the board members, their efforts and their contribution to school district, including our outgoing board members. And now, this January 2026, we thank ourselves for your services and work for 2026, including our new board members. Thank you. So next, the board minutes. Approval of board minutes. May I have a motion to approve the board minutes December 17, 2025 regular business meeting and December 17, 2025 executive session minutes? I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No abstention? So the minutes in December 17, 2025 were approved. Next, building and grounds. May I have a motion to approve the item number 1, X Lodge Book Show competition to waive their fee? Any second? Second. All in favor?
I have abstained.
So Ms. Fu abstain. Any other abstain or objection? Okay, that motion passed. Okay, next business item is education. We have 4 consent agenda for board approval. We have a motion.
I have a motion.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
No objection? Next, finance, we have 13 consent agenda in finance for board approval. May I have a motion to approve 13 consent finance agendas and resolutions? Mr. Carrier made a motion, I second. Please roll call.
Ms. Sue Chan,
Yes?
Mr. Sergio Calle,
Yes.
Ms. Ingyo Kim,
Yes.
Mr. Justin Dunn,
Yes.
Ms. Boyoung Yu,
Aye.
and Ms. Soo-Kyung Park.
Yes.
Next, personnel, we have a consent agenda for board approval. May I have a motion to approve personnel agenda and resolutions?
I have a motion.
I said yes, all of this except 3.
Number
I'm gonna
3?
be absent.
Okay,
The second
But-
first.
Ms. Park made the motion, I will second, and then Ms. Ingyo Kim will abstain for number 3, for rest of all,
Yes.
she was she vote in favor.
I'm sorry, I have a question, sorry. David Cho is named in both resignation and salary adjustment.
That's a good question, but yeah, he can,
Yes.
Mr. Albano will explain.
I will explain. Mr. Cho is a science teacher at the high school. He is resigning for another opportunity. But at the same time, before he had a job offer, he completed additional graduate credits, which contractually entitles him to a raise. So although the raise is only going into effect for maybe 2 weeks, he is entitled to it, and he did do the work. So my thinking is maybe he did that graduate work not anticipating the job offer. So that's why he appears in 2 places, but it is contractually accurate.
So it's going to be, right, this adjustment is for just about a week, like 7 days.
Yes, it's a very brief adjustment, and it's a nominal amount of money, but again, technically, he earned that and is entitled.
Do you have any more questions? now, Miss Lee, could you take a roll call?
So Ms. Sucha,
Yes?
Mr. Sergio Kaye,
Yeah.
Ms. Ingyo Kim,
Yes.
and then abstaining member
Number three.
Mr. Justin Jung,
Yes.
Ms. Boylan Yu,
Aye.
and Ms. Soo-Young Park.
Yes.
Okay, next new business. We approve for the committee members and chairperson for 2026. And the change of the chairperson in education, in the education committee, the chairperson will be Mr. Justin Jung, and the board member for the committee will be Ms. Boyoung Yu and Ms. In-Gyo Kim. With that change, may I have a motion to approve this committee appointment?
I have a motion.
May I have a second? Who's second? Mr. Gaye. All in favor?
I.
Thank you. So next, even I forgot that we need a motion to open it to public, right?
Yeah. You don't really need a motion, you can just open it.
So, and we used to, that's why I got confused.
Yeah.
There is a good motion. So I think we'll open our meeting to the public, and in order to conduct its meeting properly and efficiently, the board shall require the following procedure to public participation at board meetings. Any individual desiring to speak shall give his or her name, address, and group, if any, that is represented. The presentation shall be brief as possible, but no more than 3 minutes per individual. The board vests in its president or other presiding officer authority to terminate the remarks of any individual if she deems it is best interest of those present to do so. Any audience in public would like to speak? This is very unusual. Any? So if not, may I have a motion to close our sessions at
So we may have a few,
I have a couple
I'm sorry.
questions. I know there was a pest issue over at one of the schools, and I didn't know if, we got a note just about,
Would you mind just giving your name?
oh, sorry, Karen
Address,
Halleck,
please.
54 West Etzel. And we got a message saying that there was one, but what has been done about it?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
There was a pest issue at one of the schools, and so I wanna know what was done about it from the time that they put the announcement till now. If this
what
situation was
issue?
resolved or not. Yeah.
I have the background.
Okay.
And I also had a question as far as like, when they're hiring, new teachers, like, especially when there was a teacher in place for so long, and then they're replacing the teacher with someone who's pretty brand new. How do they go about, basically safeguarding the children and not using them as like a learning tool? If that sounds correct. I mean, because a lot of teachers come in and they're brand new, who basically just started teaching, and then they're going into the school. So how do you make sure that everything's going as it should? Because in the beginning, it's very hard to even know if anything's even going wrong unless you're in there. So I just want to know, how do you go about that? I'm making sure.
That's actually, yeah, as questions for our administrator, but just as a board member, that's a part fundamental questions from the parents since I become a board member 4 years ago. Every month or every year, we kind of receive those questions as well too. So it's not, you are not just only person to question about those. Would you like to answer?
Sure, yes. We did have a pest problem at our elementary school. The principal, Ms. Parados, was very diligent in immediately notifying me. We do have someone on contract who is a licensed pest management service, who's been with the district, knows the district well. We increased all of our efforts, and I will say, you know, I've been in only 4 other districts, but schools, especially older buildings that have openings and cracks and cafeterias,
Right.
it's not so unusual to sometimes when the weather gets cold that maybe some rodents get in. What's really important is that you're actively managing that, and we do have a plan, and the owner of the company actually, I met, after Ms. Parados met with him, I met with him, we reviewed the plan, and everything. We have to also be very careful when students are with us. There are only there's certain techniques that you can use, and things such as poison and stuff. We're following all guidelines, doing as much as is allowable and safe for students and staff, and we will increase during breaks. We could do a little bit more. So it is. My understanding is it's already improved, but yes, about right before the break, there were some rodents. I'll be honest with you, and I feel comfortable with the response to it. Okay. The next one is maybe a little more complicated. You know, new teachers, ideally, if you have a first-year teacher, hiring them and onboarding them in September is always ideal.
Right.
So we have opening conference days, we have new teacher orientation. So for example, this past year, we did hire a number of new teachers. Many of them had experience, but some it was their first official assignment. You know, they did internships in student teaching, but it was their first permanent teaching position. But we were able to, you know, do a new teacher orientation, assign mentors early on, get them acclimated through conference days, and get them into all the trainings that we do. And we have some half days for professional development, full day professional development. But sometimes mid-year, if you have a teacher leave during the school year, I have to admit it's a bit more challenging. Depends on the situation. At Lindbergh, for example, what is helpful is when you have a grade level, if it's let's say a 3rd grade teacher or a 5th grade teacher, you have a grade level typically with 6 or 7 sections, and what we will do is match the teacher up with a veteran teacher who can mentor the person. Additionally, our supervisors provide mentoring. Of course, our principals and vice principals provide mentoring, but and additionally, we do observations and evaluations. So for non-tenured teachers, there are 3 formal observations. There's additional just classroom drop-ins. But you know, getting your experience, you know, there's Malcolm Gladwell has that famous 10,000 hour rule. You know, I would say it probably takes 6 or 7 years for a teacher to be really an expert teacher. So in those early years, we provide as much support as possible. And you know, hopefully the colleges, we do consider college programs, and thankfully there are many high quality teaching programs in colleges in this area where we draw a number of teachers from. So that's considered, and hopefully they got that basis. But you know, more learning continues when you're on the job.
My question was kind of like early on, can you see that everything's going the way it should, or do we find that out when it's already kind of like too late? You know what I mean? That's my question.
Well, you know, and every situation is unique, right? So if we know about a teacher's departure, if we could provide transition time with the incoming teacher and the outgoing teacher, some overlap, as much as possible, we will try to do that. But if someone leaves suddenly, it's a bit more of a challenge. And you know, also as you would imagine, mid-year, sometimes it is hard to find a veteran teacher who's maybe tenured. So sometimes you do give a young person who has potential an opportunity,
and provide a lot of support. So, I think it's a case by case, but no, we try not to just throw the person in and then, wait for a complaint or something like that. I do think, even with experience, new to Pal Park, but years of experience, or new to teaching, I do think we provided a good amount of support and oversight, and have, our administrators and supervisors do have an open door policy, and then again, a teacher mentor. So hopefully with all those supports in place, the person can be successful. But we do our best, and I'll add one last thing, is the challenge is, there's a shortage of teachers, and that is nationwide, but also here in New Jersey. So, where if we had an elementary opening in the past, maybe you saw 300 or 400 qualified applicants, those numbers are much less. It may be only 150 or 200, and for specialized areas, the challenge is even greater. So sometimes giving young, promising, motivated people an opportunity and support them and train them makes the most sense. So, okay?
Okay.
Maybe that's not exactly what you're looking for, but yeah, that's what we do.
Thank you. And one of the differences with Mr. Albano, that he actually shared more information when he has new recruitment of any teaching staff or any school district employees. So we have more documents that we review more, and then we pretty much confident that he bring people, qualified people in, and we discuss prior to even meeting, sometimes with all the leadership. And so I want to just ask you to trust us to
But as a concerned parent,
right. And then my child has been a student in our school district for 10 years, and as a parents, some of my fellow parents prefer young teachers, some parents prefer the experienced teachers. It's sometimes
only
depends
because it's
on
like mid-year,
right.
so that's kind of like, I feel like it kind of sets the kids back. So that's why I'm asking all these questions, and with so many resignations, it's kind of like, we gotta keep replacing, and it's terrible, because, the ones that were here were very good, and so we start to, it's hard not to notice the difference when you had somebody who was so good.
I will add one thing, parents' perspective is valuable. So if you are seeing something from a parent's perspective, let's say maybe a parent feels my child is not being challenged enough.
Right.
They're in 3rd grade, but they could read at a 4th grade level, and I want them in more challenging books. Well, a new teacher, it may take 2 or 3 months for them to realize the child's potential, right? You have 23 students. So reaching out, and I'm a big believer in the chain of command. I think try to communicate with the teacher first.
Okay.
If the responsiveness is not there, then you could call one of the administrators, but and parent, don't feel like you shouldn't speak up, or you should, and especially if it's done in a constructive, positive way, it's helpful. Okay.
Thank you.
Just one more comment on that, because the teachers' resignation, and those are this is a personal matters, and often most times the reason of their resignation is confidential. So we don't really discuss in the public meetings. But it's not always the same, or it's always a match to what you think that the reason would be.
No,
sometimes it's very different
but
reasons.
You've had many, so
right.
You've had many, so that's why.
Yeah. Thank you. So may I have a motion to close public participation, and we proceed to the closed session.
Okay, I have a motion.
All in favor? So the Board of Education will convene in closed session in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act for the purpose of discussing HIV, and no action will be taken in the closed session. And I think we probably need at least 20 minutes for discussion. Or probably you can remain here, or you could leave. If you leave, please have a good night, and thank you for attending our meeting tonight.